You recently said that no one gives an about Islam.
No one gives a about him. Even in Dagestan, when he's fighting, the people goes to sleep and they watch his fight in the morning.
Is it true? How did you get that information?
I know that.
You know?
I know that from people that lives in Dagestan.
You got people on the ground in Dagestan?
Yeah.
Realistically, from all the conversations I had with the UFC and how the situation has been involved during the whole process, I don't think that that fight is going to happen. I will be surprised if I get a call and they're going to tell me, like, I want to fight against Islam, which I would love to do it.
Ilia Topuria promises the UFC he won't move to welterweight while throwing shade at Islam Makhachev.
I thought about it, but the last conversations about I had with the UFC, they personally asked me the favor, like, don't tell us after the fight that you want to move to the welterweight division. Made us a promise. And I was like, promise.
Ilia Topuria has stirred the pot once again with an intriguing comment following his UFC 317 victory, where he claimed the lightweight title with a devastating knockout of Charles Oliveira. In an exclusive post-fight interview, Topuria revealed that he had promised the UFC he would not ask for a welterweight move after his big win. Despite previous heated exchanges with Islam Makhachev, the newly crowned champion confirmed he had no plans of immediately pursuing a fight with the Dagestani fighter.
You mean next, but eventually, you guys keep winning, we will see that fight.
You think so? Hopefully.
I would certainly.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? If the UFC wants to make that fight happen, they're going to make that happen. But I don't know if they want to make it happen. If so, I'm going to be ready.
Topuria's words caught many off guard, especially after the months of trash talk and tension between him and Makhachev leading up to UFC 317. However, he admitted that he had a conversation with UFC officials before his victory, during which they asked him for a promise not to request a welterweight jump after becoming champion. As a man of his word, Topuria gave them his commitment, despite the undeniable allure of a matchup with Makhachev. The promise, made with crossed fingers, seemed to mark the beginning of a more strategic approach to his career.
Listen, my mentality is always like that. If I'm walking in the street with my wife and someone says something to her, I'm not gonna ask him how much is your weight, how much is your reach or height or this or that. Like, I will stay there and I'm gonna take his head off. And this is how I think. Like, this is the fight business. I don't care how much is your weight. If we have a fight, let's fight. If you have that 10 extra pounds, congratulations, but that's not gonna help you.
Before your UFC career is finished, do you think you fight at 170?
Yeah, for sure, that could happen.
Okay.
Listen, if you have a champion like Belal, or I don't know, many names that I could bring right now, that's an easy path. Like, you can go slap him and get that title, and that's it.
How much do you think you'll weigh on Saturday?
And I'm gonna tell you in kilos. I think I will be between 79 and 81.
Interestingly, while many fans had expected Topuria to call out Makhachev immediately after his victory, he instead turned his focus to potential challengers in the lightweight division. He even briefly came to blows with Paddy Pimblett during an intense face-off, which ended in a brief intervention by security. The heated interaction left many wondering if Pimblett would be the next in line to challenge Topuria, with both fighters now at the center of a brewing rivalry. But Topuria is not alone in being considered a formidable opponent in the lightweight division. Arman and Justin Gaethje are also being discussed as potential threats, though Sarukian's chances are complicated by his role as a backup for UFC 317.
If I'm the UFC and my only goal is to make Topuria the face of the UFC and build his star and sell out stadiums and sell merch and, you know, get this new TV rights deal and get as much eyeballs as possible, you do Paddy Topuria and you Justin Gaethje Topuria, and then Sarukian's last. Paddy Topuria's the mother fight. No brainer. Strike with iron's hot, make as much money as possible, get the most views possible. If you're the UFC though, and you do Paddy Topuria, it's a win-win, dude. It's a sold-out giant stadium Europe somewhere, or Spain, whatever you want to do. Put in Spain, put in the UK, whatever you want to do. It's selling out. You're getting a huge fan base on it. Topuria wins, cool. Build his star higher. We got the next guy, Justin Gaethje, waiting for him, or Sarukian. Keep building him up. If Paddy wins, you got another. And let's say it's a back-and-forth fight. You're just doing a rematch, making money. Who knows how long this goes? It's fucking dope.
Topuria's rise to the top has drawn attention from other UFC fighters, with former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman giving him high praise. Usman recently declared Topuria as the best fighter in the world today, taking into account his flawless record and dominant performance against Charles Oliveira. According to Usman, Topuria's skill set has been nothing short of impressive, especially in his handling of the dangerous Brazilian grappler. Usman compared Topuria's rise to that of Alex Pereira, noting that while Pereira's feats were impressive, Topuria's victory against Oliveira, coupled with his all-around skills, set him apart as a true force in the sport.
Do you feel that if the UFC gives this fight to Paddy the Baddy, do you think that's the right thing?
It's a mess right now at 155 pounds. It's very difficult to say, Paddy Pimblett, you're next up, when you haven't fought Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira. I understand Arman weighed in as a backup. I gave you a shot for you to weigh in. You don't make weight. That doesn't make a company very, very happy. And can that company trust you? Who's done more than Justin Gaethje as far as favors for the UFC?
That's not realistic, bro. The UFC moves on, bro. This is how you matchmake it. It does have to be Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, and you do have to be fair. Give it to Arman. Arman does deserve that shot, bro. Like, straight up.
UFC commentator Joe Rogan also weighed in on the situation, calling for a matchup between Topuria and Makhachev, rather than focusing on Makhachev's planned welterweight title fight against Jack Della Maddalena. Rogan, who has been known for his bold opinions, expressed that Makhachev's pursuit of a welterweight title seemed less compelling compared to the potential super fight between Topuria and Makhachev. The UFC, according to Rogan, should focus on booking this clash at lightweight, as it represents one of the most tantalizing matchups in the sport.
So we don't know what's going to happen at lightweight now. As crazy as it sounds, I hope Ilia goes up to 55. I really do. I don't care if he only defended the title one time or didn't. Who cares?
You want Ilia to fight Makhachev?
Let's go!
However, despite the widespread clamoring for a showdown between the two, the reality is that Makhachev's next move is already set. The lightweight champion vacated his title in order to move up to welterweight for a potential title shot against Della Maddalena. This has left the door wide open for Topuria to stake his claim in the 155-pound division, but not without competition. Makhachev's coach, Javier Mendez, has made it clear that he believes there are challenges ahead for Topuria, especially in the form of Arman Tsarukyan. Mendez stated that Tsarukyan's grappling-heavy approach could pose significant problems for Topuria, especially if he is able to control the pace and make it a war of attrition. Mendez has been a key figure in Makhachev's career, and his insight into the lightweight division suggests that Tsarukyan's style could give Topuria more trouble than any other fighter in the division.
What about Arman Tsarukyan, some of the other guys in the division? Do you see anybody giving Ilia Topuria a challenge?
Yeah, of course. You know, I see Justin Gaethje potentially giving him some problems. Arman Tsarukyan would be the one that, in my opinion, might give him the most problems, because Arman's not going to stand with him. Arman's going to make it a grappling war. So it's going to be a war of nutrition. You know, can Ilia survive the continuous ground attack that you know, Arman's going to put on him? And that would be the test. You know, can he do that? I don't know. Maybe he can. I mean, look what he did to you know, Charles. Charles came in for the takedown. He freaking switched it on him midair. You know, that was very impressive, man.
At the same time, Mendez did not completely rule out Justin Gaethje's ability to cause problems for Topuria. Gaethje, known for his rugged fighting style and unrelenting pressure, could be a dangerous challenge for Topuria in a stand-up battle. Gaethje's recent performances, however, have been marred by a controversial ultimatum regarding his future with the UFC. Dana White has suggested that Gaethje should consider retirement, which could potentially derail any talks of a title shot for the highlight in the near future.
Staying in that division, Justin Gaethje said that if he doesn't get a title shot, that he'd be thinking about retiring, and that he's basically inferring that you guys owe him a favor for him stepping in for UFC 300. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Listen, everybody has you know, their opinions on. Listen, if you're thinking about retiring, you know how I feel about that. You should probably retire. We love Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje did step up, and he's been an exciting, fun fighter to have here in the UFC. But to say, hey, listen, unless you give me a title shot, I'm retiring, that's pretty wacky.
Another intriguing voice in the discussion is that of Daniel Cormier, the former UFC light heavyweight and heavyweight champion. Cormier, who has spent years calling UFC fights from cage side, was full of praise for Topuria after his dominant performance at UFC 317. While Cormier acknowledged Topuria's immense potential and future in the sport, he also offered a candid assessment of the fighter's chances against Makhachev. According to Cormier, Makhachev is likely to get the better of Topuria, as he believes the Dagestani fighter is on another level in terms of grappling and overall fight IQ.
Charles didn't have much success taking him down. Ilia Topuria is a real life star, man. He really is. And I think that we're going to be watching this kid for a real long time. As long as he stays the course, he seems to be doing all the right things. As long as he stays the course, I believe he's going to be very viable and in the championship picture as the champion at 155 for a long time. I think Islam can fight him, but I think Islam will be one of the greatest challenges he would have because they're both just next level. But right now, man, he seems to be separating himself from everybody. It's just unbelievable.
Cormier's words may be taken as a reality check for Topuria, who is quickly climbing the ranks as one of the most dominant and well-rounded fighters in the UFC. However, Cormier also sees Topuria as a rising star with a long and successful career ahead of him, assuming he continues on his current trajectory. The potential for a future showdown between Topuria and Makhachev remains enticing, but it may not come to fruition anytime soon due to the UFC's decision to focus on other matchups for both fighters.
I'm not sure if you're going out to celebrate tonight because it seemed like yesterday you already did your celebrations for this. I'm curious.
I'm gonna celebrate it also with always with my family and friends, of course.
When you do those sort of things, how much of that is because you find it important to manifest what's going to happen, and how much of that is just alleviating the pressure of fight week and having fun with your friends and family?
Listen, many people they need to see things to believe. Me, I first of all believe, and then I see it. I had many reasons to celebrate the victory because I worked really hard. Every person that was in that dinner yesterday, they put like they effort in this preparation. So the victory is not always inside the octagon, you know. Sometimes it's like when you put your best effort into something, you already feel that you get the victory, you know. You don't always need to get the belts and all that to feel recognized.
Meanwhile, Topuria has shown no hesitation in calling out his next opponent. After his fight with Oliveira, he made it clear that he would be open to defending his newly won title against the brash and controversial Paddy Pimblett. The two fighters have a long-standing rivalry, and their impromptu face-off at UFC 317 only served to heighten the tension. Topuria believes Pimblett is afraid to fight him, citing the fear in his eyes during their brief encounter. This has added an extra layer of intrigue to what could be a highly marketable fight for the UFC.
Ilia right here, just one quick one for me. Last week we were over at the PI at your open workout and you had a Q&A, and when you were asked about Paddy, you said he needs to win one more fight, and now tonight you're saying
I was very excited tonight.
So does he need to win one more fight, or is that who you want? You're going to tell the UFC you want next?
I don't know. Someone from my team told me that Dana was a little bit angry about that. Yeah. Yeah. That he said that.
He said that if he was there, he would not have let that happen.
Yeah, but he wasn't there. So, mate, that has to happen.
Last thing for me, obviously you should get to enjoy your accomplishment tonight, but Paddy Pimblett did come in the cage tonight. Y'all had a little fun. I mean, but, you know, there's Arman Tsarukyan, there's Justin Gaethje. Is that the fight that you want more than anything else?
Yes. Yes, that's the fight that I want. Because with Charles, I had a little bit difficult situation because I really like the guy, you know. He's a really great human being. You can hate him. You always see him surrounded by his family, friends, teammates. He's an amazing human being. But at the end, I was like, this is competition. I have to do my job, and that's it. But with Paddy, I'm really gonna enjoy kicking his ass.
Ilia, after the fight, we saw on the cameras Charles and you shared some words in the cage. If it's a private conversation, I understand, but what, if you're able to share, what was
share like very respectful words with each other. All the respect in the world for Charles. He's a legend. He's a legend, and I have all the admiration in the world for him. He's
as I said, an amazing human being, a role model for all of us.
Pimblett, who has made a name for himself as a charismatic figure in the UFC, has been calling for big fights ever since his rise in the lightweight division. His fans have been clamoring for him to face the best, and a showdown with Topuria could be the perfect opportunity to prove himself on the biggest stage. However, there are many who believe Pimblett will struggle against the technical prowess and all-around game of Topuria. UFC veteran Beneil Dariush, for one, has expressed concern over the potential fight, warning that Pimblett may be walking into a lion's den if he accepts the challenge. Dariush has long been a top contender in the lightweight division and recognizes Topuria's dominance in the cage.
After the fight, Paddy Pimblett goes inside the octagon, some pushing and shoving. What did you make of that interaction between those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just Ilia's performance was masterclass. Like, you can't deny that guy. He's very good, you know. He's elite of the elite. As far as with the Paddy going in, man, I don't know why they did that. I'm assuming they want to give Paddy the title shot, and they're, you know, and I know Ilia wants that fight too, so it makes it a lot easier. It just, it's almost like I feel like you're feeding the kid to the lions, but you never know. He might have something we don't know for Ilia, so we'll see.
You're saying feeding the kid, as in Paddy the Baddy, to the lions against Ilia Topuria?
Yeah, it feels that way. You know, you're it's like a sheep for to the slaughter, but you don't know that, yeah, because we're all fighters, and you know, somebody's style may be so different or whatever that actually causes problems for Ilia. I genuinely don't know, but so far Ilia has looked unstoppable.
Despite the calls for a Pimblett fight, Dariush believes that Arman Tsarukyan is the most deserving challenger for Topuria's title. Tsarukyan, who has been on a tear since his loss to Makhachev in his UFC debut, has put together a string of impressive victories, including a dominant win over Beneil Dariush himself. However, it remains unclear whether Tsarukyan will get the next shot at the title, as UFC President Dana White's post-fight comments suggested that Tsarukyan may not be in the immediate title picture.
Who's most deserving in your eyes in the lightweight division to be fighting for that title next?
I think Arman, obviously, he beat Charles. He had a great streak. You know, pulling out of the fight the week of that kind of really messed him up. But I think he's probably, I would say he's probably number one. Stylistically, though, if you think about it, I think a guy like Gamrot could cause some issues for Ilia, because he can shoot. Not once, not twice, not, you know, he can shoot until he finally gets you down. That could be something that's effective against Ilia. I don't know, but I'm thinking maybe that could be a trick that works. You know, I don't exactly know that. There's the idea of Justin Gaethje, because of his style. They would both kind of meet in the pocket, and it becomes who lands. At the same time, I still think Ilia seems more calculated with the way he throws. It's a really fun time to be in the division, but at the same time, I wish I was closer into the title picture. And, you know, with that being said, I'm hoping I get somebody ranked higher.
Topuria, for his part, has remained calm and focused on his career path. In the aftermath of UFC 317, he hinted that a move to welterweight may be in his future, despite not pursuing that direction immediately. His comments seem to suggest that he remains open to all possibilities, including a future clash with Makhachev or a move up to 170 pounds for a potential third championship. At this point, it's unclear what Topuria's next move will be. He has made it clear that he is ready for any challenger, whether it's the brash Pimblett, the gritty Gaethje, the technical Tsarukyan, or the elusive Makhachev. But one thing is certain, Topuria's star is shining brighter than ever, and the UFC's lightweight division will never be the same again.
The next fight should be Arman Tsarukyan, who's healthy. Ilia Topuria did take a lot of damage, so they could run this back. They could run this fight November, December, MSG. You know, there's, you know, now that John Jones is retired, you're not gonna have John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. They can do Arman versus Ilia Topuria, MSG, banger fight.
As for Makhachev, his immediate focus will be on his welterweight pursuit, but should he be successful in claiming the 170-pound title, the door for a potential showdown with Topuria at lightweight could once again open. For now, Topuria is basking in the glory of his dual titles, knowing that the biggest challenges are still to come, whether in his current weight class or perhaps one day at welterweight. It's clear that the UFC has a bright future with El Matador at the forefront, and the next few months will determine who will be brave enough to challenge the undefeated champion.